Good evening, Mr. and Mrs. America, from border to border and coast to coast, and all the ships at sea. We've got breaking news here. And yeah, for all you cultural police, I stole that beginning from Walter Winchell. Look it up. But the story we've got is breaking. And we've got secret riots going on. Targeted secret riots, because nobody wants to tell you about them. Not the local news, not the police blotters, because they are letting them happen. My name is Rob Palazewski, and you are listening to The History of the Future, where we look into our history to see into our future. No fake news here, just a big fat dose of the truth. Quick commercial. I'm going to ask you to please go to our website at atpministry.com. atpministry.com. Sign up for our free weekly newsletter there. You can get my latest book, Absolute Truth. And if you can help us out to keep podcasting and to keep the radio show on the air, maybe to expand cities, that would be great. Anyway, secret riots. Okay, well, so maybe it wasn't exactly a riot, but it was an event involving Antifa and Black Lives Matter, and there was destruction. And it was held in a typical American suburb, part of the inner ring around my own birth city of Buffalo, New York. But part of the news is that there was no news of this to be seen. The media thinks it uneventful, so that many folks, just on the other side of the metro area, and perhaps not all the way to the other side, would have no idea that it happened. This is just part of the new normal in 2020. And of course, there was public confrontation and destruction of private property, and no meaningful police response. Now pass the beer nuts. Now listen, you have to take all of this in the context of the end times architecture that is being assembled as we live out this crazy year of 2020. Here, this was in western New York State. Earlier in the week, it was in Wisconsin, a Wisconsin suburb. Only that one got a little bit of press coverage, so we did hear about it. But the one I'm talking about, it happened in the front of the town of Tonawanda Police Building, located on a road in that town called Sheridan Drive. It seems the newly formed local chapter of a national patriot group called the Watchman Guard got wind that Antifa and Black Lives Matter were going to stage an event on Friday, October 9th. And by the way, the main source of this information I'm sharing comes from a member of that patriot group. They posted some stuff, some of the group, and I was able to get a look at that. If you go to our, if you get next week's newsletter, go to atpministry.com. I will have links to some of that video there. Now, the Watchman Guard, which is the patriot group, gathered, and it was about 30 people altogether, a mixed group of races and nationalities that included former military, retired and active police, doctors, teachers, all of the like in their ranks. And they were there just to quietly monitor the leftist protesters as they came on. Now, the two groups formed on opposite sides of this road, and there's a median in the middle there too. And my source told me that a number of the Antifa people were bussed in. They came in on buses, that's their usual way of doing it. And when they got off the bus, they came with full riot gear. They had the bulletproof vests, they had the helmets. Some even had skateboards to be used as weapons. They had the Black Lives Matter signs. And he heard reports, but he couldn't confirm this, that some of them did have tasers. And they taunted the patriots, standing on the other side, using the usual, using profanities, trying to get them to react, wanting engagement from the Watchmen, the group called the Watchman Guard. But the patriots just quietly stood their ground for, throughout all of this. Then some of the protesters came into the median to engage the Watchmen. That median served as a sort of no man's land. There was nobody in there between the opposing groups. And then one of the leftists, who was a self-identified teacher, began to engage the Patriot group, trying to drum up support for defunding the police. shamed them into defunding the police, which is a crazy thing to do when you consider that the police were one of the groups that the Watchmen had come out to support. Then as it got dark, and the Antifa group seemed to kind of break up a little, according to the reports that I have, and headed off into the neighborhood with the Patriots following them at a distance because they didn't want to engage. And when Antifa and Black Lives Matter had made a turn down another side road, that's when they began to harass civilians, and they broke some windows, damaged some vehicles. Probably upon these reports, the police then emerged from their station, running past the Patriots, and followed the protesters. But again, the police did not engage them. And while this is going on, Antifa circles around, makes another turn, circles around again, gets back to Sheridan Drive, the main road where the police station is located. And there they had set this all up, and they used 3 cars to block all traffic. And this is a major artery there. It's a major road, and that road remained closed for over an hour. And again, the police did not engage those illegally blocking traffic. They didn't try and clear this ad hoc roadblock that had been formed by the protesters. And then my source said that the Watchmen were told that the police were to stand down, that they were given that order by the town supervisor. And in fairness, I got to say that this report was neither confirmed nor denied that it came from the town supervisor, but that's the report that he had. And then the whole confrontation kind of just naturally dispersed as darkness really settled in. However, my source reported that the next day he had a meeting, and they said that after many of the Patriot group had left, some of the protesters went back into the neighborhood and caused more damage. Now, this was just in my home area, the suburbs of Buffalo, New York. And in that area, the protests have hit 3 suburbs right now with property damage and in some cases assaults going on. It hit Buffalo earlier, and there was loss of life. It got pretty crazy. Policemen got run over. This is the real news. The real news is that this is not news at all. This is America in 2020. This is the new normal. The new normal. But we must consider that all of this is just another piece in the end times puzzle. And it's been being played out all year. It's part of the coming revolution. We're watching it form into place. And the end game for that coming revolution is the establishment of a techno-fascist regime bent on setting up a new world order. This is not happening just someplace else. This is happening all across the United States, all across America. And it's come time that we understand that someday soon, this is likely to be coming to a neighborhood near you, to a neighborhood near me. This is Rob Palazewski for the History of the Future, signing off.